mass migration out of the Americas took place, especially from the Andes. And people like the Chachapoyas migrated towards the Facades of Africa and Western Eurasia in what is for them the East, also including to Gibraltar and the Mediterranean, and at least parts of the so-called Fertile Crescent. The reasons for this could be multiple, like for instance, a. uncovering of essential resources in the destinations outside of the Americas. b. depletion of resources in the origin regions in the Americas. c. melting of essential glacier across the Andes. d. disease, including plague, potentially caused by degradation of soils, reducing or extinction of biodiversities, decrease of water, as well as climate challenges, especially because of their non-sustainable agriculture and especially their for vulnerable areas destructive pastoralist practices. We hypothesize that it were the same climate challenges, because of their non-sustainable agriculture and especially pastoralist practices, that turned the Green Sahara permanently into a desert and also into a barrier for and inside Africa. This degradation of the Green Sahara was possibly on purpose. This for the out of Americans isolating themselves from the probably very numerous sub-Saharan Africans, as well as from the powerful and well-defended Bronze Age cultures, further to the east. This way they could, or rather they one day would be able to assault the Egyptian Empire in their back, and even let many more new arrivers arrive and migrate through the secured and isolated band across Africa straight up to the Nile River, to take part in, and to massively reinforce the assault, further isolating the Egyptian Empire from its allies, sources, and resources. A similar strategy had been used by out of Americans carrying the same haplogroup, and descending from the same prehistoric American root and cradle R1, but entering Europe and Western Eurasia from the north, coming down assaulting the Bronze Age cultures and especially the Egyptian Empire simultaneously from the north. This latter assault from the north, that worked much in the same way, is wrongly recognized as an expansion of pastoralist ancestry and/or Yamnaya. Despite this, it are the same out of Americans, with their mummy culture, that make Egypt thrive, because Egypt mainly depends on the Nile, and its contact and trade with all the cultures that came in their reach, because of Mediterranean, Nile and Red Sea, and does not really depend on the Green Sahara for them to still thrive and further develop, without the now collapsed Green Sahara fertility, productivity, and its cultures. As said, this out of America, across the Atlantic, to the east, does not exclude the same and other groups being carried across the world, by the Austronesian expansion, and or even by yet other routes, of which the Pacific currents are a key part of, and this even possibly much earlier. It is hard to say which one route was the first. Ancestral markers and most evidence point out that the Austronesian expansion was first. But it is clear that crossing the Atlantic is much shorter, even the longer more northern routes are still much shorter, than all of the Pacific currents, and certainly than all of the Austronesian expansion. It is also clear that in the most recent population turnover events in Europe and Western Eurasia, roughly until 4,500 years ago, the Atlantic routes, specifically the more northern Atlantic routes, possibly passing by Greenland, and certainly and characteristically passing by and leaving evidence in and on Iceland, Ireland, etc., had become dominant and key. Guanches brought Mitochondrial Eve L and Y-DNA-E to Africa. The Guanche mummies analyzed by the research team carried mtDNA L3, this amongst several other mtDNA groups, that are recognized as today common across West Eurasia and North Africa. This obviously so, because the out of Americans turned over or infiltrated into the former cultures. The fact that they today carry certain haplogroups does not at all tell us they are Africans. In fact, quite on the contrary, tell us it are out of Americans, exactly the same pattern as with Y-DNA-R1b in Europe and Western Eurasia, and parts of India and Africa, that have their roots and cradles in the Americas. The title of the study we are referencing is Ancient DNA Study Confirms North African Origin of Guanches. The Guanche mummies analyzed by the research team carried mtDNA L3, amongst several other mtDNA groups that by consensus are recognized as common across West Eurasia and North Africa. American L3 into Africa and African L0 overturned and withdrawn in deserts in Africa. Take especially note of the American mtDNA L3, which today is dominant in sub-Saharan Africa, and consequently the main component of all mitochondrial Eve. The Guanche mummies Y-DNA-E, with the EM183 haplotype to be specific, is common across modern North Africans, and particularly common in Berber-speaking populations of North Africa. However, for us of origin of existence, as well as for some other researchers, the Y-DNA haplogroup D, including its descendants, like also E, are not of African origin, but of American origin instead, with D migrating dominantly through the Austronesian expansion, and E migrating dominantly through the Atlantic expansion. Exactly as the Guanche people clearly demonstrate us.